Hello and welcome to another one of my Andrew Wasson YouTube channel posts. Thanks a lot for joining me here, and I just want to say I didn't have a chance to make one of these last week, and sorry about that. Life got in the way, got kind of busy. But I thought this time around what I'd do is just something a little bit different. I was going to talk about guitar strings. A lot of people will, wonder at times, what's the best guitar string for me to buy? What should I be getting involved with? Should I buy this brand or that brand out there? I honestly want to start with brands because, if you're playing the, name brands, let's say it's, like Ernie Ball or the Fender brand, or maybe it's Gibson, or maybe it's D'Addario, that's what I prefer. You're going to be on some good strings, but if you buy sometimes the cheap house brand on some of the music stores out there, sometimes you can be in for some pretty cheap guitar strings, and is that worth it for the extra, savings of maybe a couple of bucks? I don't think so. I really, for what strings cost, they're not that expensive anyway. I would go name brand. Okay, so now let's talk about the different guitars, and we'll talk briefly about the brand that I like. I use D'Addario strings. I have for probably over 20 years. I've used D'Addario strings for sure. I just like them. I got used to them. I like the gauges that they're set up in, and that's my personal preference. For other people, I know a lot of people, it's Ernie Ball. That it's just hands down, that's the strings. I know other people who play more exclusively with acoustics, and they swear by like Martin strings or whatever. So you know what? You got to find your favorite name brand, but like I said, I went with D'Addario personally, and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on with steel string at first. Now, this package that I have here right now, this is the 10 to 47, and it's acoustic guitar strings. They call it extra light gauge. These are the phosphor bronze EJ15. I like these strings a lot. I do not prefer a heavier gauge. I know some people on acoustic guitar, they like the heavier gauge strings. I'm not a big fan of that. That's why I have gravitated to the 10 to 47, and it's just up there in the corner. If you're ever wondering, like, what does that exactly mean? Well, it's the gauges of the thousandths of an inch that we have from the first string up to the low sixth. So, when you're using a thinner gauge of guitar string on an acoustic, it does sacrifice some of the boominess of the guitar, like the fat low end, but I, usually, record and process my sound a lot. So, it doesn't really play a big role for me in that respect. I just like the playability of, how comfortable it is under my fingers to play this particular gauge. Now, if you're a beginner, you may want to find what they call silk and steel strings, where the lower strings are like a wound nylon and they're super thin on top. I'm not sure what the uppermost string is. Could even be as thin as a 9/9000ths of an inch, which is like really, really thin. But it'll be really easy to play, learning to do bar chords and all the things you need to learn how to do as a beginner player and an intermediate player. It's going to be way, way easier for you. So keep that in mind. And then if you find after maybe a few years that you want to go even thicker than something like that I use, then you could just start moving up in the gauge, go to the light, go to the medium, and then, find what's perfect for you. Everybody's different, and there's no like right or wrong, but just keep this one factor in mind. We're going to talk about it when we get to electric guitar strings too. When you have a thicker gauge of string and you have higher action, you get better tone. When you look at someone like, let's say Stevie Ray Vaughan, perfect example. Stevie Ray Vaughan uses had used thick strings with high action, and that's how he got that crazy big thick sound out of his Stratocaster. So always keep that in mind. If you can raise your action up a little bit, I keep my action fairly high actually on acoustic guitar, and these strings for me work out great, but maybe you want thicker strings, maybe you want to try mediums or whatnot. Anyway, okay, let's move on from here. Next up is going to be electric guitar strings. So let's just flip guitars here and grab the old electric. I'm just going to be demonstrating today with my Telecaster, my Fender's Telecaster here. And for me personally, on all of my electrics, unless I'm doing something with a whammy bar, which isn't very often, I have a BC Rich that I use that has a Floyd Rose system on it. On those guitars, I do use thinner strings. I have to admit, I'll use like 9/1000 of an inch or whatnot on top. I don't like going much thinner than that. I'm not a fan of like the super thin, 8/1000 of an inch on top string for string. I don't know. It's just too thin for me. I find I'm like kind of pulling at the strings too much, and my control isn't there. But on, let's say, a Telecaster or a Stratocaster, where I never use whammy bar on a Stratocaster, I like these strings right here. Now, these are the D'Addario, and again, they are the thicker strings. These are 11 to 49. So they're called Blues Jazz Rock EXL 115s. So this is what I use. I like the thickness of the top strings, on the thin side. I like the 11/1000 of an inch. And then down below, it's like, I know a lot of sets, when you're off of an 11/1000 of an inch on the first string, the sixth string can be as thick as, 0.52, so I just find that too thick for me, too boomy on the low end. But these have a 0.49 up on the sixth string there, down on the sixth string, I guess I should say, to pitch. And I really like this setup. I find it just really, really nice. So keep that in mind. I like the thicker gauge because I get a better tone out of the guitar. And I find that if I go to 10s, they just kind of feel, to me personally, a little too thin. So anyway, so that's my idea about the electrics. Let's flip guitars one last time and talk a little bit about nylon string. Now, again, you'll see it's D'Addario. Like I said, for like over 20 years, this has been the strings that I've been buying. The nylon string, I'm very particular about my nylon string guitars. And when I discovered these Pro Art, they call them rectified nylons, and you're probably wondering what in the world is that. It's like they buff the three non-wound strings, so 1, 2, and 3 upper strings. They run them through something, and it gives them a bit of a texture. It's sort of like they have like almost a satin finish, whereas most classical guitar strings have a gloss finish. I really like that, and that's why I had flipped to these strings, because I had used another brand, and I can't remember, I think it was a French string, but that's a long time ago, man. I've been using these for like way, way long. So these are the hard tension. I prefer hard tension because I get better, attack out of the string that way. And these are specific classical guitar strings. And that means that the low 3 strings are a wound nylon core. It's a stranded core. And then the top 3 strings are these, they call them rectified nylon, which is, again, they're like a satin finished. It's almost like they run them through some kind of buffer machine or whatnot, and it just changes the texture. To me, it gives me like a great feel on every string. It's almost making those upper strings kind of feel a little bit like those lower wound strings. And maybe not 100% like that, but it does give that feel a little bit. So anyway, guys, I thought I'd do a quick video for you talking about the strings that I use and the reason why. I like a little more projection, so I'm going with like hard tension on the nylon strings, and I'm going with the thicker gauge on the electric guitar. But I am not so concerned about that over on my steel string acoustic. So over there, I've got that little bit of lighter string going on. So otherwise, brand I use, D'Addario, and I think that you got to find your brand and you got to decide what you're comfortable with. But otherwise, this is the setup that I'm using. Maybe it works for you. Maybe some elements of it work for you. Maybe there's something else that you like using instead. But overall, I'm going to wrap this video up. Thank you so much for watching. Keep in mind that if you want to follow me on my main YouTube channel, that's going to be a different YouTube channel than this one. It's just YouTube at Creative Guitar Studio, so you can follow me over there. And then, of course, I do have a Patreon. That's going to be patreon.com/Creative Guitar Studio. And then all of my courses, if you want to study guitar with me, that's on a separate website again. So that website is my own company, which is creativeguitarstudio.com. So anyway, thank you very much, and I will do my best to make another video for you guys next week. Let me know maybe what you'd like to hear me talk about. Sometimes you guys like the philosophy videos going on. Sometimes you just like, gear tech related stuff. I have been asked a lot over the years about patch chords So maybe down the road I could talk about the kind of patch cords that I like to use and the setup that I have running through, let's say, my looper pedal and some of the other gear around here. So anyway, guys, have a wonderful week, and I will catch up with you next time. Bye for now. With a free membership, you'll be able to access all the free lesson material, including a collection of 6 years of YouTube archives, where there are hundreds of videos, PDF handouts, and MP3 jam tracks. Plus, with a free membership, you'll gain access to the Quick Licks program, a 30-lesson course covering guitar licks in all playing styles across all types of scales and arpeggios. When you sign up for a paid membership, you'll get access to my core curriculum, including my beginner, intermediate, and advanced guitar programs. Plus, there's also my elective courses on the site, like acoustic guitar, guitar technique, guitar soloing, ear training, music reading, and many others. Go check it out. You're going to love it. The website is creativeguitarstudio.com.